just getting older. Soon enough, it'll be too late to act. Let's do it again. Let's ride on their waves of gold. California sun. I'll wait for your call, 'cause I wouldn't go on my own. Last night I was screaming out loud, California sun was making my eyes dry. Can we still make it happen? It's worth a try. And I might keep on dreaming out loud. It's a beautiful life, staying under blue skies. Next year in the winter, let's give it a try. I'll keep on dreaming out loud tonight. Winter's dawning, and I can't seem to adapt. And somebody told me that you felt the same way since we went. Why won't you give me a call? We'll ride on those waves again. California sun. And I can wait through a storm, 'cause without you it wouldn't be the same. Last night I was screaming out loud, California sun was making my eyes dry. Can we still make it happen? It's worth a try. Oh, and I might keep on dreaming out loud. It's a beautiful life, staying under blue skies. And next year in the winter, let's give it a try. I'll keep on dreaming out loud tonight. Yeah, I'll be dreaming out loud tonight. I'll keep on dreaming out loud tonight.
You ever seen this quote? Right? It is like the most famous real estate investing quote of all time from Andrew Carnegie, right? 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. Let me explain something to you. Andrew here, Mr. Carnegie, was born in 1835. He died in 1919, guys. Stop it. Stop. If you go and Google this, go try to find the year that he quoted this. Go try to find the context that he quoted this. I don't even know if this is a real quote that he actually said, but let's assume that he did say that. Do you know what $1 million in, let's call it 1890. Let's call, he was a vibrant 55-year-old man, right, that said this. He was like in the prime of his career. He was really doing stuff, right? He's an industrialist. It was the Industrial Revolution. They kept building factories. Factories are real estate. You don't think that he would say that 90% of all millionaires do become so through real estate? Of course. Not only that, but it is $1 million in 1890 is worth $30 million now. So he's talking about 30 millionaires, people that have 30 million net worth in 1890 did so through real estate. Go do some research. You want to know what 97% of the top 100 wealthiest people in this country got wealthy from? It's called business. It's called being an entrepreneur. Times have changed. And I'm not saying that there isn't incredible opportunities to build wealth in real estate. What I'm saying is build a business first. Build a business that sources discounted property. That's all wholesaling is, by the way. The pure definition is the art of finding discounted properties. It doesn't talk about assigning. Did I say anything about assigning there? It's the art of finding discounted properties. Now, do I think that you should assign? Do I think that you should get rid of these properties as quick as possible so that you can keep going and keep building your business, build out your business systems to effectively and consistently find more of these deals and get big checks all the time? Absolutely. I want to just flip this whole thing on it, because this channel isn't about just doing a deal. This channel is about building a business that is going to be a servant to you as a business owner, building the systems, putting it in place, staying laser focused, and understanding that the person that finds the deals controls the whole industry. They control the whole industry. They control the exit strategies, right? But if we go out there and we're trying to taste every single part of real estate investing, and there are plenty of real estate investing strategies, it's going to be there's going to be there's no consistency. There is no hope that you're going to build a long-lasting business that's going to serve you, because you're going to constantly be switching directions. And it's hard enough to build a business that you're completely focused on. So what I'm saying is, listen, that old trope, even if it was true, even if he actually said it, good luck researching it and finding it. You're not going to. It's not the case. Most millionaires are made by building businesses. Unless you want to go the long route. If you want to look at that long route and you make some money, you make some income, you save it, you put it into investments, and it's just kind of your side thing, that's great. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about getting there fast. I'm talking about enjoying your life and your lifestyle once you build a business quickly over the next 3, 5, 7 years. That's what I'm talking about. Building a business. Matt, hit me with that article. I think it was from CNBC. It talks about the stock, but it's really talking about what's going on here. Most rich people build their wealth as entrepreneurs, not with stocks. It's absolute truth. All right. We go back to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and we look at the 4 quadrants, right? We've all read the book. And then we go down the rabbit hole of Cash Flow Quadrant, the second book that Robert Kiyosaki wrote. And it really breaks down the difference between an employee, a self-employed, a business owner, and an investor, right? Well, listen, it's not you go employee investor. It's not even you go self-employed investor. The path in this day and age is employee to self-employed to business owner, and then you invest. You invest the profits that you make from building a successful, profitable business. Stop getting distracted. Stop looking for the silver bullets. Stay focused on this incredible business of going out there. That's where, if you focus, I am telling you, you focus, you cannot lose. All right? Awesome. All right, let's go to the board here. We're going to be breaking down, obviously, the show is the 4 questions to ask every seller. So I want to make sure that you get all of that so that you have and can implement this right away. But there's a great quote from Tom Kroll, my mentor. He was the best of the best of the best. He built a business. He sold that business, and now he's living the life, right? He said, wholesaling is simple. Wholesalers are complicated. And it's the absolute truth. And the reason we're complicated is because we don't stay focused, right? So let's talk about this. Let's go big, let's go macro, and then let's bring it all the way down. And then I'm going to show you how to really make sure that you understand what a deal is. Okay, let's look at this real quick. Let's look at some stats. Okay. 143 million residential properties in the United States. 143 million. It's about 142, but it's creeping up there. We'll call it 143. Okay. We know based on the U.S. Census, we know based on just being in the industry that 6 to 10% of the real estate market at all times is in some form of distress, right? Whether it's financial, emotional, right? Personal, whatever it is. Right? They're in some sort or condition. So there's condition, there's financial, and there's emotional distress, right? That's the 6 to 10% of the property owners have one of those 3, right? And so that shows us that we have 8.5 to 14.5 million opportunities out there every year, right? Now let's look at the stats, and it says there's 19 million real estate investors. That means that they own rental property, right? 19 million of them own property, or they own them and they flip them. But at some point they own them. An investor is somebody that actually owns the asset. That's the definition of an investor, right? There's 19 million real estate investors. Maybe, right? What do you guys think? Maybe 100,000 wholesalers? Maybe. I feel like that's high. I feel like it's real high, but I just kind of want to put it out there. I want to go high with this just to show the distinction that these people get their deals from these people. You know what I'm saying? So there's no competition. It's all collaboration. It is all collaboration. There's not enough people out there finding the deals. There's not enough people building a business, staying focused to finding these deals. I'm going to hammer this thing home, and you're going to get so annoyed with me, but I'm telling you, it's the absolute truth. I've seen so many people like dink and dunk and just do a deal here and there and don't build a actual business that's going to be a servant to them. And that's what I want you to have. That's what I have. It's incredible. I'm telling you, that's what a lot of my students have. But it starts with understanding that these are the people that we're serving, and there's way less than us. And there's all of this opportunity for this, right? So no matter how competitive you think it is, no matter what you think is going on in the market, there are more opportunities than there are wholesalers. Got it? And people building wholesaling businesses. So you know that whole saying that like if everybody's running over here, run over here? Because don't go with the masses, go with the people that are real niche and real specific and really focused. Boom. That's it. Right there. Right in the face. Got it? Good. All right. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's get into instructions. Here it is. Here's the whole business, right? We go over this. Here's the 3 parts of your real estate business, right? There's 3 parts: lead generation, conversion, and exit strategy. That's it, right? And you can put sales if you want conversion. You can go marketing, conversion, and whatever, making the money, operations, whatever, the actual income that you make here, right? So you got lead generation, which you've got marketing, referrals, and prospecting. Now, let me ask you this. Let me go through this. Conversion, pre-qual, lead follow-up, offer presentation, exit strategy, flip, hold, assign. Take a picture. This is the whole business. Don't overcomplicate it. Remember, wholesaling is simple. Wholesalers are complicated, right? But keep this all simple, right? What part in the process? I want you guys to participate here in the comment section. What part, in part 1, 2, or 3, do we comp a property? I want you to put it in there, and I'm going to jibber jabber here a little while to get people enough time to go in there. 1, 2, or 3, where do we do our research, our due diligence on the properties that we're going after? Okay? I'm just curious to see what the response is. All right? At what point in the process here are we putting together all of our offer presentation? Where are we doing this? Well, obviously it's here. That I kind of led you there. I'm just kind of stalling for time. Did we have any responses? Anyway, it's right here in number 2, in conversion. You do not, before you do lead generation, you do not do due diligence. Stop it. Stop comping that ugly house down the street that you haven't had a conversation with. I know you have. I get texts every single day. Hey, what can I offer on this property? Right? For my students, what can I offer on this property? What do they want? I haven't talked to them. Call them. Okay. That's the conversations. When people are in their first week, month, whatever, getting started in this, it's like you get so excited about understanding all of the numbers and all of the rehab numbers and what's the right offer strategy for it. It's so simple, guys. You simplify it way down. You don't have to do any of that. Have a conversation to see, number 1, if they want to sell. Do they actually want to sell? Have they made the decision that they're going to sign a piece of paper that gives ownership for this thing that they have to somebody else? And if they have, that's when you start digging in. That's when we talk about the 4 questions to ask every property owner so that you know if 1, they're ready to go right now, what's their timeline? And 2, are they actually interested in selling this property? Have they really made this decision? And then you can start doing your due diligence, but it all starts with the conversation first, guys. Start with the conversation. It's so critical. You have to talk to them first before you can start doing all this due diligence. Stop trying to be perfect with everything. Stop trying to call up people and be like, hey, I can give you 150 in your house. Will you take it? It doesn't work. You got to warm up the relationship. They have to know, like, and trust you to be able to do business with you, right? So start opening up these relationships, these conversations with really good open-ended questions. And I'm going to go over 4 of them in just a second that are just like bullets, boom, boom, boom. You're going to feel like unstoppable, like a gunslinger when people are talking to you about real estate. All right? But right here, this is when you start doing your due diligence. This is when you start doing your research. This is when you start understanding, is this a deal? And remember, you don't have to be the absolute best closer, the best salesperson, the best everything if you understand that we're deal finders, not deal creators. Is it going to help you to ask really great questions? Absolutely. Is it going to be great to have confidence, to have that certainty and likability when you're on those appointments? Absolutely. When you're on the phone? Absolutely. Right? That's all that training does. That's all that experience does, is give you the certainty and likability. That's it. The words that you're using, it's all pretty basic stuff. And especially if you've got a motivated property owner, it's kind of hard to screw them up, right? You screw them up by trying to be something that you're not. That whole act as if or fake it till you make it type thing is total bullshit. That's not a real thing, right? You need to be truth finders, right? You need to be truth tellers. You need to go out there and actually try to understand what's happening with this person. Got it? All right, good. So in that process, remember 9 steps, guys, 9 steps, 3 main parts: lead generation, sales, or conversion, however your brain wants to digest that, and then exit strategy, right? And going back to it, if you focus on just assigning and building a business that assigns these deals, maybe flip sometimes, maybe you're in a market where it's better to do double closes, double escrows, maybe it's a huge deal, you don't want people knowing what it is. Technically, that's a flip. Same business though, same business. It's still the business of finding these deals and getting rid of them as quick as possible. The people that get caught in downturns are the people that are holding on to projects and the value goes down. I'm telling you, I am telling you right now, this is our time. This is our time to find unbelievable opportunities and build an actual business. Focus on it. You're a business person. You have that mind. You're an entrepreneur. You're not just somebody that does deals. Stop. You're not just somebody that's going to go, oh, I know how to do every single deal. Everybody that knows how to do every single deal, besides somebody that's already built a business, doesn't have anything. They focus to build a business and then they started expanding. The people that start out doing all the other things don't do any business, or not enough, not nearly as much as us that stay focused. So I'm going to hammer that home. But let's get to some questions. Remember, first off, you need to understand when you're pre-qualifying every single property owner, the 4 pillars of pre-qual. Let's pop that up, Matt, so that it's just right there in front of everybody. It is the condition, timeline, motivation, price. Condition, timeline, motivation, price. This is critical, guys. And it's in that order because people will talk about the condition of their property before they tell you when they want to sell it or why they want to sell it and for how much they want to sell it. They will tell you the what. They'll tell you what happened here, right? It's just natural. It's just human instinct. They're like, oh, okay, well, I'll talk to you about the condition of the property because it's not about me. It's not about my situation. It's not about my emotions. It's about something that happened. Oh, I had a tenant out there. Oh, you know what? I threw it my back and I couldn't keep up the property. Oh, I just inherited this property. All of these things, it's never the owner's fault, the condition of the property. You know what I'm saying? It's always a situation. Oh, there was a flood. Oh, fire started. Oh, we just couldn't keep up with it. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And because of that, it's easier to open up those conversations with them because it's not about them. And then the more they talk, the more that their force field's going to come down. The brick by brick is going to just be like knocked off, and you're going to be able to get the truth out of them. But you got to be seeking the truth, and you got to be telling the truth, and you got to be communicating with them effectively, right? It comes with confidence. That's the reps. That's the reps part. That's all going to come. You can't read that in a book. I'm telling you. I am telling you, the best people that I coach just take serious action, and they screw up every single day. They're just screwing up and screwing up and screwing up and screwing up. It truly is. So, boom, there you go. So let's go into 4 questions that I want you to ask. Write them down so that you have them, and we'll rock and roll, and we'll get to the questions. Guys, this show is participation. This doesn't happen without you. This is just, that would just be me talking like a crazy person up here to nobody. So make sure that you are putting in a couple different things, all right? Number one, make sure you let everybody know where you are doing business. Squat up in the comments. Number two, let us know of your successes. We want to ring that bell. We want to bring energy to this industry. We want to support and love you, right? We want to send that energy out to you. And number three, what questions do you have? What are you working on? What's a difficult hurdle that you need to like jump over so that you can keep taking action and really make an impact in our community, right? So make sure that you participate. Make sure you put it in the comments section. Make sure you get in there, okay? We'll just start. We'll just start going through all of them as soon as I get done with these four. Number one is condition. What remodeling have you done to the kitchen and bathrooms in the last 5 years? This is very specific, and it's very specific to two of the biggest budgets that typically a flipper or a buy and hold investor is going to be considering when they're looking at this deal. So what have they done? Well, I haven't done anything. Oh, it's all original. Oh my gosh, we just put in brand new cabinetry. We got it custom made. We put this unbelievable like waterfall edged granite into it or quartz or whatever it is. And it's just beautiful. And we put new pools and new appliances and all this. This tells you what's going on with the property. Right? You need to understand the condition. Have they done nothing? Have they done something? Is the things that they have done, do they think it's valuable? It's important to know because then it lets you know what their expectations are for the price, right? Number two, we typically close in 14 to 30 days. Does that work for you? Now, this is a yes/no question. This isn't an open-ended question because I want them to say yes, right? I'm leading them to say yes. Most of the time we're leading them to say no, 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 and then we get to the yes, right? It's all sales psychology, but remember, stop it. If they're motivated, they're motivated. I'm asking this for a specific reason because if they say no, I can't do it, then you say, okay, when works? That's an open-ended question. All right, but I want to get that yes out of them. Yes, I'm ready to sell. I am committed to selling this. If you give me my money in 14 to 30 days, I'm going to be the happiest person ever. That's what you're pulling out because the timeline is everything. Out of these four pillars, the timeline is so critical. It's so critical because you can get all the rest of them, but if they're not ready to make a decision now, you're spinning your wheels, and then they're leveraging your offer, and then they're constantly moving the goalpost down, and then you're constantly like a dog chasing them, right? Don't chase. That's exactly when you chase, they run away, right? So like really understand what is their timeline. Number three, this is a motivation thing. And honestly, I don't use this much. Sometimes we use it. So I didn't use this much. Remember, I'm a business owner. I have acquisition managers that are way better than I was at closing, doing that job now. That's why my business is more profitable than ever, right? With me working 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours in the business a week, way more profitable than when I was doing it myself, right? That's crazy, right? But it's the system. Anyway, if you don't sell this home, what's your plan? If you don't sell the home, what's your plan? It's a great question for motivation. But typically, number one and number two is going to get you. If you get the condition and timeline, typically they're going to give you number three. They're going to let you know the motivation. Oh, my tenants were destroyed it. I'm done with it. I'm sick of it. We inherited it. We don't want it. We're not going to do anything with it. We're not in a position. The family wants all the money. Oh, we're behind in some payments. I lost the job, and then we had to do this, and I got a loan modification, but then I can't pay for it. So now we're back in this situation. All of these things happen every single day. All these things happen 8.5 to 14.5 million times a year. Crazy. Man, I love this business. But if you don't sell this property now, what's your plan? It's a great question to understand what is their motivation. Well, I'll probably just fix it up. Or, you know what, I might just list it on the market and see what happens. Or I might just go see what Open Door or OfferPad or some of these iBuyers will pay for it. All of these things, what is their motivation? You have to understand that. There has to be a problem that you can solve. There has to be a reason why they want speed and convenience over price. We're never going to win on price. We're never going to win on price. I'm telling you. Most of the time, unless you're in like a crazy market where there's literally no inventory, like Southern California or Manhattan or Miami or some parts of Chicago or Seattle, some of these other parts, you're not going to win by just giving them what retail is. They can easily put it on the market and get more for their property. It's just going to expose it to more buyers, right? And the buyers determine the value anyway. So the more buyers that they're exposed to, once you put it on the market, it's exposed to the world, they're going to get more money. Why do people choose to then sell off market? Speed and convenience. Why do you decide to turn in your car when you get a new car as opposed to selling it yourself on Craigslist? Selling it yourself with some sort of whatever dealership, you know, or somebody, I don't even know. I guess there's two options. You can sell it yourself on some sort of Facebook or Craigslist, or that's what I'm talking about. I want speed and convenience. I'm trading my car in. There's people that do that with houses every single day. Every single day, right? So that's the third one. Number 4 is, how much do you need to walk away with? I love this. How much do you need to walk away with after you pay everything off in this house? Right? Well, what do you think is a reasonable offer for the property? I don't know. You tell me. Okay, great. Well, you've lived in the neighborhood a while. What are your neighbors in similar condition selling for? I don't know. Some of them are fixed some of them aren't. You know, you called me, you tell me the offer. Okay, great. Well, just, you know, perfect world, you pay off everything on this house. How much do you have left over once you pay everything off that you walk away with and you feel really good about? Well, 30,000. It's just reframing the same question. It's reframing the same question. We're still asking about price. So those are the 4 questions to ask when you're talking with all of these property owners. Obviously, guys, I want you to pre-qualify every seller every single time. And I'm telling you, sometimes when you just ask them about the condition, they give you all of these. They give you all of those. Those are the ones where you go, oh my gosh, why is everybody else so mean? And this person's so nice to me. This is going to be a real deal. This is really going to happen. It happens happens thousands of times a day, that exact conversation. Just complete laydowns. Well, I haven't had a laydown. I've talked to thousands of people, Brent. It's happening. Change up your certainty. Change up your tone. Change up what you're saying to them. You know what I mean? See what works. See what is effective. You get the script at TTP Insider. You get all the downloads, all the resources at TTP Insider. That's easy peasy right there. You got to download it. So go in TTP Insider and we'll get it. Guys, we just switched to what is this? Streamyard. So the stuff is going to look a little bit different from other side. But at 11 o'clock, I'm going to bring on Jared Frankham out of Texas. And he did a support call for my coaching students yesterday. And I got blown up with text saying it was absolutely incredible. He's going to come on at 11 and share what he shared with my whole group last night. And it's going to blow your face off. You're going to absolutely love it. That's why we wanted to do this. We're going to start bringing on more people so that we can start split screening it and talking to you, making sure that we've got really, really good interaction between you and me. And so it's going to be cool. We're going to do some cool things in the future, but let us work out the kinks. This is our first one, but it's incredible. So with that, boom, done on the side. Let's get to the questions. Let's get to the celebrations. Let's get to Raphael Cortez. Raphael.
Boom. What's up, man?
4 questions to ask property owners.
I love it. I think they're on point. One that I like dropping right out of the gate, because it's just like the definition of an open-ended question is can you tell me a little bit about the property?
Yeah.
And it's that one I think opens it up to situation, to everything. I mean, it's not targeted on condition. It's not targeted on what's going on with tenants. It's just, can you tell me a little bit about the property?
Yeah.
And what's going on? And then they just start vomiting facts about, the issues. But yeah, like you said earlier, man, it's not rocket science. The terminology, the what we use in terms of scripts and rebuttals.
Yep.
It's not complicated. The thing is, I mean, I love
we're complicated.
We're complicated.
Yes.
Wholesalers are complicated.
Yep.
Wholesaling is simple,
Yep.
right? Yeah, keep it simple.
Love it. Love it. All right, let's crack this thing open. Sorry. Lion's Den. This is a great question. I'm really thankful that you asked this. Do you ask about the amount owed on the property? No, I don't. I don't, because there are so many resources that tell us. So many resources. I mean, if you're looking at, typically, if you are pulling lists that you find in this channel, they're going to have equity because they've owned it for a while. Now, maybe they've gone out and they've pulled some home equity lines. Maybe they put some other liens on the property. That's something that you'll want to find out, but they'll understand. Typically, people know what they owe on a property. And if you offer them less than that, they go, well, that won't even pay off my loans. I don't care. I really don't care. I'm going into every single conversation with the assumption that one, they're motivated, and two, they have equity. And that's what you need in this business. They need motivation and they need equity. They need some problem that you can solve with speed and convenience. And then they need to have equity. That's it. That's how you get big checks. That's how you get out of your 9 to 5. And then that's how you start building your bank account and then start hiring people on to build your business. Right? So it doesn't matter. I don't ask that. Typically I'm just going through, and typically when you ask that, it's like personal information. It's like me going, hey, Lion Dens, well, how much do you owe on your credit cards? Right? Like, it's weird. Like, why am I asking you your financial debt information? I don't care. Let me see if this offer is going to work out. Is there going to be times when there's a rare occasion that I make an offer and they're like, well, I owe more than that. And they're like, well, what do you owe on it? And they have some weird, obscure lien on the property. Every single one, PropStream, Batch Leads, Privy, all of these companies will show you exactly what's owed. Well, an estimate of what's owed, but they'll show you at least what the loan was, the loans that are on there. That's public information. So don't worry about that. Good question.
Also, if there's anything that's like an obscure lien or something, it's going to pop up during the title search. So you'll find out about it.
Yep.
So yeah,
yep.
It's invasive at the beginning. I agree with you. Yeah.
Love it. How do you bring, question by Dash? I guess it's Dash. How do you bring multiple buyers at the same time to check out a house? Won't the seller be like, what are all these people doing here? Upfront expectations. Hey, Mr. Seller, great. We signed the contract. Okay, the next step is in 3 days on Friday between 2 and 4, I'm going to bring a circus through. I'm going to bring everybody through. I'm going to bring my financial partners. I'm going to bring my network of other investors. I'm going to bring contractors through. I'm going to bring whatever you want to bring through. I'm going to bring them all through. It's going to be a circus, but I'll be here and make sure it goes as smooth as possible. Then we'll be out of your hair. Okay, fair enough. And well, what is this? Are you trying to sell the property? Yes, I'm an investor. Yeah. Is that a problem? Is it a problem if I sell the property? I mean, that's our business. No. You know, what do they expect? Are you trying to sell this? Yes, absolutely. That is our business. But it doesn't affect the amount of money that you make. You net the same amount. You know what I mean? It's just, I got to get everybody in and determine what exit strategy I want to use. Because you do have the option to flip, to hold, or to assign. And don't make the decision until you get the contract, the property under contract. Maybe you want to close on it and just do a wholesale, make it simple. Like, I always want to get rid of these deals as quick as possible without putting any money into it, because it's a huge distraction. We were buying properties, we're flipping them, we're selling them to the hedge funds. We're making great profits. It's great. It's fantastic. It really is. But it was very cosmetic, and it was a nightmare because the contractors are all over the place. My disposition manager, Jeremy's pulling his hair out. He's F that contractor and blah, blah, blah. And he never says that, right? And so it like totally slows up the process. But you get to choose what your exit strategy is. You don't have to make that decision when you get the contract signed. That's your prerogative, right? So whatever objections they have, just tell them everybody's going to come through. And then the secret, and I love it, Jamil DMG, hit it on the head. Bring cinnamon rolls. Bring cinnamon rolls, coffee, donuts, whatever your local town thing is. Go to like a good local store or something and get something really good and bring it to them, and just sit with the owner or the tenants and have a conversation. What's going on? How are things going? Did you watch the game? Did you do this? What do you think of that? What's going on? You know what I mean? So start going through that. There you go. It's only a big deal if you make it a big deal in your head. For real. Sellers don't care. And most of the time, if you're in a major market, 85%, if you're in a market of 1 million people or more and you've got a good cash buyer database, 85 to 90% of your deals will be sold sight unseen. Great pictures, great videos. If you need a guide for that, TTP Insider on what pictures to take. And that's in the that is in the Perfect Offer Pack download. Perfect Offer Pack. All right. Boom. 3-parter. I love it. Guys, we need some celebrations here. I don't know if Alejandro's just sneaking it in, but we need some celebrations. Why are you giving me the stink eye? Oh, look at this. Spoke too soon. Foot, insert mouth. Boom. All right, go back to that. He closed 2. And I can't see his name because we got the thing rolling down the bottom. Carlos. Been in the game 2 months, closed 2 deals for $35,000.
Yep.
Look at that swag bag. That's Carlos from the TTP. That's right. Here we go, Carlos. I think it's podcast time, Carlos. What do you think? Give me a thumbs up.
Yeah,
2 months.
2 months. Heck
2 months, 35,000. Oh boy, Char. Here we go with the yellow background. I like these yellow backgrounds. I think it makes people pop. Look at him. Just closed a wholesale deal today. Ring that bell. Let's go.
Let's go.
That is bananas. Congratulations, Char. Keep it going. Remember, start every day at 0. As an entrepreneur, it is very important. This was taught to me by Mike Ferry, a mentor of mine in a traditional realtor training. Start every day at 0. 0 leads, 0 money in the bank, 0 opportunities, all that. Because what happens is our brain, right? And Raph, you can kind of go into this and dig it a little bit deeper. When we're used to having $500 in our checking account, $1,000 in our checking account, $1,200, $5,000, we're feeling good. When $35,000 hits our checking account, we're like, life is good. We start getting complacent. We start going, oh, I'm going to start getting creative. I'm not going to do the thing that just made me this money. I'm going to start doing other things. And I'm going to start hiring people too fast. And I'm going to start, stay focused. Start every day at 0, and you're going to watch how fast your wealth builds. If you go from that space, then you're not in that complacency. Complacency is the silent killer of real estate entrepreneurs, of any entrepreneurs, but it is the silent killer. When you get that big check, when you haven't seen $12,500 in your checking account ever, and you're 20 years old, and you're like, what? My parents don't even have this much in their account. They've never had that much. We just immigrated to this country, whatever it is, right? You're just like, oh my gosh, start at 0. Start at 0, right? What's the psychology? Why does that happen, Raph?
100%.
Why do, when we get big checks, why do we just like,
classical conditioning? That's the psychological term is classical conditioning, right? We're used to certain numbers. We're used to an environment. We're used to, just a specific set of things. And then when we break out of that, that's why, going outside your comfort zone feels so weird.
mm-hmm.
But we have a financial thermostat.
Yep.
And that's due to classical conditioning, the expectations of the day-to-day and the stuff that we've been learning over the last 20, 30 years or whatever. And what happens is that when you tap into that, when you break out of that, you'll find ways to self-sabotage.
Yep.
Why? Because you become, you're thinking, okay, that's just enough. Right? I have enough for this. I have enough for that. And if you're used to the just enough mentality, you're going to find ways to come back to that just enough space. I went through that. That's how I know.
Me too.
And then I read it in the textbook. I was like, oh, that should make sense.
Uh-huh.
But the way that I broke through it was I got really, really comfortable with the just enough and then some. Thought at the beginning, right? And then some gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's not about breaking through just enough and then having, dreams of glory right out of the gate, but bolting on, higher expectations to it.
Love it.
So think about that, just enough and then some, especially when you get hit with a $35,000 in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Love it. Awesome. There you go. Start every day at 0. Blake, great question. What is an acquisition manager? So an acquisition manager does this right here. This is what an acquisition manager does. So when you're starting out in this business, Blake, you're doing all of this. This is you. This is you building your business. You got to go and you got to generate the leads, right? I always suggest that you start with prospecting because you're trading your time for money because maybe you don't have a huge budget. And I always think that you should grow your business based on the results of your business. Even if you have a big chunk of money, I really think that you should not invest all of it into it in the beginning and hire people before you have your systems in place. I highly suggest you talk to at least 1,000 property owners, distressed property owners before you hire anybody. You start with prospecting and then you start building the referrals and then you start getting into the marketing and doing some pay-per-click and some Facebook. That's what we do, right? And then this part right here is sales. Acquisition managers, once the leads come in, the acquisition manager's only job is to make sure that they're pre-qualified, they do the lead follow-up, and they get the deal signed up. They get it locked up. This is all Ryan and Chad and my team do. Right. And Ryan's on here all the time. I'll bring him on next week, I think, just depending, because he's absolutely phenomenal. And he's like he's a killer on these appointments, and he closes. So this is what they do. That's what he does. So
Brian's got mesmerizing eyes too.
yeah, he's just like the handsomest dude ever. I went to college with that guy. It was unfair. It was completely unfair. That's when I knew. You know what? I went to college with Ryan Thornton, and he was so handsome. That's when the whole comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I mean, everybody has talents, right? You got the biceps.
That's it. Yeah, I could throw them around, no problem. Crystal, after we pre-qualified the seller and they are motivated, what are the next steps, step by step, to getting the contract signed? And how do I interject constant close to help with that? That's excellent. It's right here. Crystal, I love that you asked this question because that's it, right? So you pre-qualified them. You're right here at this step. The next one is this, right? When are they ready to make that decision? Right? You get a simple purchase contract. You can download one at TTP Insider. I got it. I've said it a million times, but it's like unbelievable resource. Anyway, there's no excuses. That's what I'm trying to tell everybody. There's no excuses to not go take action. Oh, I don't have the paperwork. I don't have. Take it to a local attorney and make sure that it's good, and boom. Lead follow-up, right? You're doing your lead follow-up. You're shortening the timeline. Then you do your offer presentation. Your offer presentation is when you go there and based on the price and terms, you guys come to an agreement, you get the contract signed. What really happens with constant close is they do all the parts when you turn it into the title company. And honestly, like constant close isn't something that you need unless you get into real sticky transactions that you need like real specific, you need, well, first of all, if you're going into it and you're going to be doing all these creative deals, then constant close will help you set it up. My suggestion is go with the simple contract, find people that have motivation and equity, lock it up at least for your first 12 months, build a machine, and then you can get into all the crazy stuff. You could build 1,000, door portfolio. You can go and fix and flip and be the greatest designer builder, whatever, in your market and get a TV show and become famous. All those things I want for you. But you got to build the business first. Everybody's done it. Jamil did it, Pace did it, I did it, Luke Rotfull did it. Look down the line of all the people that either you follow or that you like in your gut you really trust and like. They've all built it from finding discounted properties and doing it. All right. And then real quick with constant, if you have a really good escrow officer, then they will transaction coordinate for you, which is fantastic. Constant close just make sure that everything's in, everything's organized. You literally just turn it over to them, the contract, and then they make sure it gets closed and it's nice and smooth. But you still have to be making sure that you're keeping in contact with the seller and they're moving forward and they're not, getting shaky legs or anything. All right. Santiago Luna, Brent, do you allow your cold callers to negotiate, make offers? Never, ever, 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 ever.
Big no-no.
Nope. No, all my cold callers are trained to do is find people that want to sell and try to get as many of the pre-qual out as possible. Okay. I want to then take it to my sales guys that have more certainty, likability, market information, can go get face-to-face, knee-to-knee, belly-to-belly with these property owners and get the deal done. Okay. But I am not doing that whole thing. Maybe it works in some markets. In Phoenix, no way. I've tried it in Florida, no way. I've tried it in Alabama, no way. I've tried it in, two places in Florida. So Florida, Alabama, and Arizona. If you try to have your cold callers negotiate with you and send it in, it's like this deal, it usually falls apart. And it's not real. They're like, you call them and they're like, I never said that. What? No. I didn't say I wanted 140. I said I wanted 340. It's a mess. Have them their whole job is to take that 8.5 to 14.5 million properties that we're going after, filter it down to your market, filter it down to, and their job is to filter down the people that have a timeline or have a want to sell their property, or at least they're considering it. Okay? Awesome. Oh, come on. Now, I assume you're saying you closed the 77K last week. So did we. Congratulations. So technically that sentence works on two levels. If I'm reading this, Brent just closed 77K last week, which is true. And Santiago, we are 77K bros. Come on. Here we go.
That's a double bell. That's a double bell. You got to go back and do it again. Double bells. Yeah. Double bell. Boom.
That is awesome, guys. We are just 15 minutes away from Jared Frankham. He's going to blow your face off. He's going to be real honest. To be real honest, he was doing well, and then he got crushed, and he got distracted, and now he's doing awesome again. He's got interesting strategies, and he has just got a heart for service and for connecting and for go-giving and for bringing value to this industry. And especially, I mean, I've had just the fortune to coach him and really see the progress and evolution in his business, but also he jumps on Tuesdays and gives a lot of support to the entire, all the people in my coaching program. It's bananas. So we switch off. I do one Tuesday, he does another Tuesday, and it's fantastic. And then every single day we have a support call with the rest of my staff, but on Tuesdays we take over. So there we go. Here we go. Two-part question. Blake asks, so I have your cold call script here, but if they ask how much will you give me, in the script it basically says answer their question with the question yes. Yeah. So Blake, it's basically like, you know what? You've got a couple different options there, right? You can start throwing stuff out, or you can say, you know what? My partner runs all the numbers. Can you tell me? You answer it, and then you ask him a question. My partner runs all the numbers. I'm just like the people person. So can you tell me what remodeling have you done to the kitchen and bathroom in the last 5 years? Right? Can you that? I absolutely can give you an offer. I would love to give you a price on it, but the condition's really important. How much can you tell me what remodeling have you done to your kitchen and bathroom in the last 5 years? There you go. So when I tried that, they were kind of upset that I dodged their question. What would be the right? Listen, Blake, stop trying to conform to everybody that you talk to. There are going to be people that don't want to sell and they just want to piss you off because you piss them off. They're acting reactive. Give me your offer. No. Whatever. You called me. Give me your offer. What's the likelihood that they're going to do business with you? Seriously. Don't try to convince anybody. We're deal finders, not deal creators. People are going to dog you or dodged. They're going to think that you dodged the question because you can't answer the question. I'm not sure. I'm not the numbers guy. You know, what I do is I'm the people person. I just first find out if you want to sell. And if you do, then we do our research. We do our due diligence. We make sure we come up with a fair offer based on the condition. Is that fair? Boom. Keep it going, Blake. That Brazilianaire. All right. What are the 6 answers we get every time you cold call people? Would you like to sell your house? What are the 6 answers we typically get? I love it. 6 answers. Whenever you go into, I'm going to take this one off. Okay. Just so that you can take a picture of it. So it lasts a lot longer, but it's all in the TTP script, right? There's whenever you, sorry for putting my back to you guys. I don't mean to do that, but whatever. That's just physics, I guess. Here you go. When you ask them for an offer, right? They have, if they would consider an offer, 6 responses. Our favorite one is yes. It's the least likely one, but yes is our favorite, right? Number 2, the most common one is no. Okay, no, I never want to sell this house. I love this house. My dad built this house, right? He built it with his own 2 hands. The family's going to have this house forever and ever and ever. Okay, I completely understand. Do you have any other properties that you would consider an offer on? Maybe even a piece of land? Right? Boom. Now you're back into the game. Number 3 is maybe. You know what? We're maybe thinking about it. We're kind of talking about it a little bit. The market seems good right now. I might be getting this job in St. Louis and we live here in Sacramento. I'm not sure. Right? Maybe. Right? Number 4, how much? How much will you give me? This is the one that, was it Santiago? No. No, the question before. Blake, sorry, Blake said, this is the one that Blake got. And this is the one that scares everybody the most. These, awesome. Well, actually, this scares everybody the most. This is the second most. This one scares you because they're like, yes. And you're like, okay.
Now you got something to lose.
Yeah. So how much you want, right? You know what I mean? We start getting a little, that's why we practice the script. Number 5 is, who are you? Right? Who are you? My name is Brent Daniels. I'm a local home investor. I'm a local home buyer in the area, and I was interested in your neighborhood. Want to see if you would consider an offer on your property. I'm just calling around in the neighborhood and just seeing if you would consider an offer, right? If you guys, you really need to go back to 3 episodes ago on this channel. The cold call breakdown was bananas. It's the best 20-minute breakdown ever recorded on the internet. I am telling you, you need to go back and really listen to how smooth that call went. All right. And number 6 is how'd you get my number? How'd you get my number? That's it. I found it online. You know, we have an online resource. We send in addresses, and they send us back the phone numbers, and sometimes we get lucky, right? So that's it. You can get all of that in TTP script on TTP Insider. All right, there you go. You don't have to run it. It's been running. They get it. Amigos, what should we expect from a investor-friendly title company? What should we ask them? I love that question, Edgar. How many wholesale deals are you doing? How many wholesale deals have you done? Do you like doing wholesale deals? Like, all of those things are going to be really important, right? Do you do double close, double escrow? You do all that stuff. So do you do wholesale, double close, double escrow? And how much do you do? And that's it. And really what you're looking for, Edgar, is one, that they all do that, because you got a referral because you posted to Facebook in an investor group, or you go to a meetup, or you go to a RIA or whatever else, and you find the title company. They literally sponsor the events always, right? So you go and you talk to them and you have those conversations, or you just post to a Facebook investor group, or you can go on Discord now. That's blowing up, and find investment groups in your area and ask who's the best escrow officer and title company. I think, Rafi, you know what I think is going to happen? I think there's going to be like a virtual title company that's going to take over.
It's
going that way, bro. I'm telling you, I think it's going to be one that does it nationwide. They're like, you know, make it super easy. Yeah.
I was actually talking to one of those already. So they're already out there.
Yeah.
They're breaking into some just regulation across, you know, some states.
Mm-hmm.
But there's companies that are already doing that.
Yeah. Love it. Classical conditioning. Man, you crush that. Crush that. Rudy, when you wholesale a home, who is responsible for paying the closing costs? All right, Rudy. So typically what happens is not typically, this is what happens. You put together your purchase contract. And in the purchase contract, one of the benefits to the seller is that you give them a net offer, which means you pay for the closing costs. You pay for their closing costs. You pay for the buyer's closing costs, your own, right? And that's what you agree on. So we have this deal we agreed on. I'm going to give you $100,000. That's net. Once you have to pay off your liens, but you get the rest. Okay. There's not any other things that's going to nickel and dime you. Okay. That's a big difference between me and working with a real estate agent. Okay. So there's no commissions, there's no closing costs, nothing. That's a net offer to them. Now, once you assign this contract with the terms that you put on it, your new buyer is getting this. They now own this contract. They have to fulfill the contract that's already agreed on. Okay. They're not going back and renegotiating. Typically. I mean, don't work with people that try to do that. You know what I mean? Unless there's something goofy going on. But so if you put it in your contract that the buyer pays the closing costs, once you assign it, boom, the buyer pays the closing costs. Remember, once you assign it, you're out of the transaction. You're out. You're not buying it. You're not closing on it. You're not bringing funds into it. You get your earnest money deposit back because it's replaced by the earnest deposit of the new buyer in accordance to the assignment agreement that you fill out and send to them and they agree to. Easy peas. There you go. Good question, though, because that does come up for sure. Dexter, so if they don't have any other properties, then you move on. Absolutely, Dexter. Yeah. Deal finders, not deal creators. 199 people out of 200 are not going to do business with you. And that's you speaking with them. That's you talking to them. That's a new, and that's if you're being proactive. That's if you're prospecting. If you're marketing, it's much lower, right? If you're spending money to get people to call you, you know, typically for like a postcard or something, it's like 1 out of 100. And then if it's an internet lead, it's typically 1 out of 10. But internet leads in major markets cost anywhere from $500 to $1,000 each lead. So your $5,000 to $10,000 budget to get those leads to call you. It's great, by the way. Marketing is fantastic. It's how businesses are built, but it is wildly expensive, right? Especially if you're getting started. So if they, move on. Great question. Nathan, I'm calling lists and talking to people I've already called because they own multiple houses. I want to ask them about each one, but don't want to make them angry. I keep calling. How do you handle this? They will only be angry if you go into the conversation thinking that they will be angry, right? It's your tone of voice. And are you trying to convince them to sell their, this is what I find all the time. And this kind of happened. All Hunter kind of had this happen. We had a owner of a property. He owns like 10 properties. We got like 3 or 4 of them. And then we're like, well, let's convince him to sell the other ones because we got these at smoking deals, right? And he's like, no, I need to wait for taxes, right? Right? He had to wait for taxes or something. He didn't want all the tax liability in 1 year. And we still stay in touch with them and communicate with them. And you can't convince them to sell their properties. That's what I think. Well, you sold those ones. What about now? You can touch base and do lead follow-up. Is it the right year? Is it in your plan? Have you talked to your financial advisor? Is it time to do it? Great. Those are the conversations you have. That's not bugging people. But if you go in, you're like, hey, hey, this thing's a headache, right? You want to get rid of it, right? Why don't we sell it? Why don't we sell it? Why don't you sell it? Why don't you sell it? That's going to bug them. That's going to make them angry. But if they don't want to sell, let them say, I don't want to sell, and respect it. And then call them in a month and touch base. People don't listen. You have to understand, like most people are really, really, really cool. You know what I mean? Like if they don't want to talk to you, they just don't answer. They just don't respond. So then you just keep touching base and if they go, leave me alone, then move on. Stop tying your emotions into their response. If you let somebody else control your emotions, you're going to be a mess. Like high energy. I'm going to serve the community. I'm going to find the best opportunities. I'm going to find the people that are in distress that want to trade equity, potential equity for speed and convenience. That's what we do.
Hey, Brent, how would you handle setting upfront expectations for that follow-up call on a situation like this?
Yeah, I would simply say, listen, I love over communicating. All right. I need you to tell me to back off, but I want you to know, I want to reach out to you. I just want to touch base. I want to see first how you're doing, but then also just see, make sure that I'm ready when you're ready to consider an offer. Beautiful. Right. And fair, I'm not going to call you 15 times a day, but I am going to touch base. So just save my number in your phone as Brent Homebuyer. And then boom, it's saved in there. They see me, and it doesn't even matter if they answer. If they save my number and they see my name in a text and a voicemail and on the call when they're looking at their phone, it's a seed. I don't have to say a thing. It's just reps. They're seeing me all the time. When they're ready to make a decision, what do you think happens? That's it. I'm new to the industry. Is it smart to join an acquisitions team? It just depends, Juan. I mean, if you feel like you want to get some really good experience and kind of do an apprenticeship, go for it. Do I think that you could literally go out today, find an ugly house, go to batch skip tracing, get their phone number, call them up and see if they would consider an offer, and do that a couple hundred times and do it yourself and fumble through it? Absolutely. It just depends on where you're at. It depends on if you want to build a business right away or if you want to get a little bit of apprenticeship and then break off and start your own thing. Right? So there you go. Oh my goodness. It's time. We've got them. What's that?
We have like 230 people.
Yep.
Should get some more likes.
All right. Well, guys, if you're getting value out of this, hit that like button. Hit that like button. We've got an incredible audience here. We've got Jared Frankham coming in. It's going to be absolutely incredible. Give you some good energy. Hit that like button. We usually send out free boxes of gifts if we hit a certain point. 200 likes. Let's get to 200 likes, guys, and we'll send out some free swag to everybody today. Love to do it.
There's 239 people watching, so 200 likes should be an easy one.
Huh? Everybody what? No, we'll select somebody that gets swag. There you go. Sorry. I'm losing my mind. I'm excited about Jared coming on. Jared, pop on here.
Bring him on.
Jared,
What's
Frank.
going on, Brent?
There you
Yeah.
PPP.
love it. I love it, Jared. So I was telling everybody you did a support call yesterday.
Yes.
And I got 5-10 text messages about just how impactful your story, how impactful what you were saying there was. It was real, it was raw, it was true, it was inspiring. So give us a little bit of that. Give us 5-10 minutes. We've got a lot of questions to get to here. I don't want to take up your time. I know you're doing deals. So what did you say last night that really impacted everybody?
I just talked a little bit about mindset and what my story was. A little bit on my story, but really we started the support call yesterday about what would it take to build a 7-figure business, $1 million a year in wholesale, how many appointments you need to go on, how many deals do you need to do, how many phone calls do you need to make, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what we did from there was talk about what does it take to get there. Here's the actual action steps, but your personal income will never exceed your personal development, right? So in order to have a 7-figure business, you need to have a 7-figure mindset. By the way, I don't have a 7-figure operation yet, but I'm on the way. And what I've noticed is so much about how I've seen my business grow has been directly related to what I believe, the expectations I set for myself, and what I attract. And what I've discovered is a handful of things. One, I start off by being incredibly grateful and realizing that chasing the money is not the goal. The money's great, but that's a result of the value you provide to the people you're talking to and your community and sellers and everything. The more value you provide, the more positive that will flow your direction. So I start off by being grateful. Always be grateful. Understand, guys, even us in America, we are so incredibly blessed. Even our most poverty is still better than 95% of the world. So on one hand, we honestly us as Americans don't have any reason to complain ever about anything. So start off by being grateful for what you do in fact have. And I realize the more grateful I am, the more things that flow my direction. I'm going to mention that a few times. Another thing too was to stack small wins. Stack small wins. Here's why, is because in this business, you'll hear a lot of no's, right? Getting on the phone, talking to people. Most people don't want to sell their house at a discount. They don't. But that's okay, because we don't want to do business with those people anyway. We want to do business with people who are willing, ready, and ecstatic about trading price for speed and convenience. That's what it is.
That's
so
it.
We hear no a lot. But here's the thing, Brent, is if we listen to that and people get mad at us on the phone or whatever, and we internalize that and accept it, that feels like a loss in one hand. And if you stack a bunch of losses, you begin to feel like a loser. Well, if you feel like a loser, you're not going to produce a 7-figure operation, business, whatever it is. Forget wholesaling is one thing. But if you are walking around feeling that way, that's what you're going to project, right?
Yep.
So the way to combat that is stack your small wins, and everything has to do with your mindset. And one of my biggest challenges, and Brent, you've helped me a lot with this, is the thing that has hindered my growth the most is staying within my shell and what I'm comfortable with. You tell me all the time, Jared, bring the heat, bring the energy, be loud, right?
Yep.
And you remember when you first met me, when I came out to Phoenix the first time, I was just kind of deer in the headlights, just, lost. But over the years, you've been telling me, Jared, be loud, be aggressive, be big. And what I've realized is a handful of things. This is the law of TTP, is the more people I talk to, the luckier you get, the more money you make.
True. Yep.
It's freaking real. Okay. Yeah. It's real. But stack your small wins. Okay. It's not a small thing that you get up and make your bed. It's not a small thing that I made it. I opened up my dialer, or I drove by one house. Because here's the thing is, as you do more of these things, you start feeling like a winner, and then your chest puffs up, and you get not to boost your ego necessarily. I don't care. Nope. I don't want you to be a self conceited jerk, but right. You feel like a winner, and you get excited and happy and proud about what you're doing. And that happens by stacking these small wins, small things. And your mindset's massive. And here's why. Okay. I found wholesaling by accident. I meant to just be an investor from the get-go. I wanted to buy houses, but wholesaling stumbled, and I heard an assignment fee is typically $5 to $10 grand when I first discovered this. And so I thought, well, I'd like to, I want to be on the top end of that. So my first deal was $9,550 because I expected 10 grand.
That's right.
But now you and me both know that there's deals far above and beyond that. Now, of course,
you just did a deal where you closed that was 6 figures and you sold it to your own other company. You sold it to yourself with $100 grand in equity, and you made what, 10 grand in just cash?
No, I signed it to myself for 15 and then walked into 100 grand in equity. And I'm going to move into that house. And by the way, I've done 2 more houses just like that this year.
And how do you do that real quick? And by the way, guys, this is exactly right. The gratitude that you feel, whatever it is, whatever that gratitude is, if you want to go real crazy with just your DNA, the fact that you're even on this planet, 1 in 400 trillion opportunities, that is the likelihood. That's the ratio that you're here on this planet. I mean, you could just start with that. And then you could start with that you could breathe with lungs that work, and you can feel with fingers that feel, and you have a brain that works, and you have eyes that see and nose, all these things, right? You can get as crazy as you want to go with gratitude, but that's a great start. That's a great foundation. And then these small wins. Did you get up on time? Did you go out and meet somebody that you really want to connect with? Did you send that text, that DM to somebody that you've been trying to connect with and they haven't really responded to you, but you keep trying anyway? All of these things. Did you go out there and find an opportunity, have one conversation with people about real estate? All of these things matter. All of these things build up that experience. If you want to be something that you're not now, that means you want to change. Change is hard. When you know it's hard, when you get that kick to your gut and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel uncomfortable right now. That's when you know you're on the right path. That's when you know that you're growing. There's literally growing pains, right? All of these things. The first time that we ever went to school for the first time, we're clutching on our parents' legs and, oh, I can't leave, all these things. And now we're all in society floating around like crazy, right? It just, you got to build up your experience. You got to build up your confidence by putting in the work and stacking the small wins. It doesn't matter if you've never done a deal before. If you let this be a simple business and not be too complicated yourself. I said, Jared, the old Tom Kroll saying of wholesaling is simple and wholesalers are complicated. It's the absolute truth. And what Jared's saying here is stack the small wins. Keep it simple. The win, your victory, your confidence doesn't have to come with the day that check comes. The day that you close that deal. That's a wonderful day. It should be celebrated. But those small wins get you to those big checks. Phenomenal. So real quick, give us 2 minutes, Jared, and then I got to get back to the questions on how you do these deals where you sell it to yourself and then you have the equity.
So I have multiple LLCs, but 2 that are important to this. I have my wholesaling business, and then I have my buy and hold business.
Yep.
And so you can do it one of multiple ways, but you can either A, do an assignment of contract from company A to company B, and there you go. Or you can buy in company A, sell to company B. Or 3, you can just have company B buy it, and then a line item on the closing statement is a fee to company A. So
and remember, guys, these are cash transactions. These are not with a bank. Banks don't let you sell it to yourself. It's got to be arm's length. They don't let you sell to your relatives and all the other business partners and all this other stuff. Typically, this is with cash purchases.
I did it with a bank.
What?
Yeah, I did it with a bank on one of them. The other, I got private money, and dude, talking to people got me there. I asked a local investor of mine, hey, do you know anyone that would have private money? I've got this kind of deal. Like, yeah, here's a contact. I call him up and told him about what I'm doing and things. Like, yep, Jared, here you go. Here's 300 grand to go do your deal. What?
Amazing.
What? And it happens. I'm not anybody special, Brent. If I can do it, everyone in this audience absolutely can. For sure.
Love it. So you just portfolio and
so I'm still
build that
really
equity.
Aggressively wanting to buy and own, buy and holds. But I agree with you, Brent, that wholesaling, the art of finding the discount properties is incredibly important. That is your foundation. You have that. You have your cash machine.
Yep.
You can choose what you want to do beyond that. by all means, it's incredible.
Love it. Jared, thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving so much to the community. And I'll talk to you soon, bud.
Okay.
See you, bud. Awesome. Absolute. Look at that. It's all that energy. Jared had joined the program after living in Brazil. He goes down to Brazil when he's talking about like America and we're so fortunate in this. He travels the world. He really does. I mean, he's a traveler. He goes and sees a lot of rough areas, and that's the perspective that he brings to it. And that's why he's got that incredible gratitude that he has. And I think it's just so special. I think it's so special to see somebody that was in their shell come out with the confidence and with a voice, and to be able to really, really, really just be confident, being themselves, being loud, and letting everybody know how amazing this business is. So thank you, Jared. You're the man. I'll talk to you soon. All right, let's get back to questions on the Ugly Houses Big Checks show. Here we go. Theo, greetings, TTB family. When starting SMS campaign, do you text all leads first to maximize time, then cold call? It's not an or, it's an and, right? Theo, do it at the same time. And what I would suggest is I would start with the calls. I'm just telling you guys, the carriers, it's the easiest thing for them to do is to block these text messages, and they're getting better and better and better and better. The heyday of being able to send out an incredible amount without some sort of like disclosure or link or opt out or whatever it is that make people think that, you know, it's a scam or it's you know, just they ignore it when they see that link. It'll affect text. So do it if you can. But I would suggest that maybe you start texting agents and start building relationship with agents that work with investors, as opposed to start texting, you know, a lot of the people that that have the distressed properties. So I would make a shift there, guys. I really would. What do you think, Raph? Are you still sending out a bunch of texts?
Yeah, we're sending. We had some hiccups in terms of regulations, red flags, and all that stuff.
Yep.
And then we went to I can't remember the service that we just got. My lead manager went through a few of them, looked at whatnot, but we picked the campaigns back up.
Yep.
So yeah, one thing that we do is we'll stack the lists, and then we'll create sub lists out of everything, and we'll hit the cold calling, and then we'll hit them with SMS as well. So we do a 1-2 combo on marketing. That's pretty standard for my operation. It works well.
Good. Well. Yeah. And.
Yeah.
Yep. Not or.
Yep.
Awesome, Theo. Good question. Thanks for jumping on here, bud. Great supporter. De Niro, speaking of great supporter, if an agent sends me a contract that clearly states not assignable, does it become assignable if I sign it with my LLC and add it as and or assigns? Hashtag not an attorney. And De Niro, what you want to do there is you want to talk to the title company and say, if I put this on here, can I assign this deal? Now, the one thing that kind of throws me off here, De Niro, is why does the agent have does not assign or not assignable? The reason they have that is a couple different reasons. Typically, most of the time, that's because they got burnt. They just got burnt by another wholesaler that didn't close. They locked it up, tried to go and sell it. They found out that they were trying to sell it and they canceled. They got really bitter and they're like, I only want to work with the people that are going to close on this deal. Now, if they're really, really, really focused on that and it's a really, really good deal, then do a double close or a double escrow. And there's we have a video on it on this channel. All right. I think I just humble bragged on my own video. Sorry about that. I feel, you know, listen, if you don't have conviction in your own business and in your own content, what are you doing? Anyway, what contract do I need for a property that I'm not JVing with a friend? I'm just adding a fee on top. Typically, if you are selling it to typically what will happen, De Niro, is your friend will assign it to you and then you'll assign it to your buyer. Okay. That's typically what happens. So they get an assignment of the contract so once they assign it to you, you now have this contract. Now, unless there's stipulations in their assignment that you can't assign it, then you assign it to them. There you go. So it's like, sometimes, listen, I've been on one that had 13 assignments early. That's when I was a cash buyer employee. That's when I had like 5 buyers, and I'd sell it to this guy. This guy would sell it to you. You were probably in this mix at some point. I'm sure, certain of it. It's like Raphael Cortez's info. Yeah.
The daisy chains used to be a lot longer.
Yeah.
The one thing that we also do in situations like it's just straight up JV agreement.
Yeah.
Are you using JV agreements, Brent?
No.
Or no? No, you don't.
No, we get it assigned and then we assign. There are some, probably should. But the JV agreements are more for, hey, listen, if you want my help dispoing this, I need a commitment from you that you're not going to sell it to your buyers or anybody else. So we have a JV agreement for a certain amount of time. Give me 3 days and let me get it out to everybody and we'll see. Right. Awesome. Zamain. If the seller asks for proof of funds, what should I do if I don't have one? Well, first of all, you can easily download them online. You can Google it. Kogo Capital has one. I think Jamil has one. I forget what his is called. You can get proof of funds pretty easily online. But there's a more fundamental issue there that needs to be addressed, and that is you need to have the ability to close these deals. Unless you are just blatant with the seller that says, listen, I am not your buyer. My service is I put your property under contract. I sell this contract to people that are going to be the end buyer. I work with them. It doesn't affect anything that you do. So you got 2 options. But typically when you say that, they're like, wait a second, I just want to sell my house. So you're not buying it. Do I know that it's sold? How do I know? How am I being confident? These other 3 guys say that they're going to be the buyers, right? And you're telling me you're not going to be the buyer. So be the buyer. Find somebody in your market. Jared just talked about raising $300,000 from a phone call. Go and find somebody that is doing really well in the market. And I know this is scary, and I know this is intimidating, and I know that you don't want to do it, but I'm telling you, once you do it, it's not that scary. It's only scary because it lives in your mind. And that's how I felt. Honestly, that's how I felt. I was like, I don't want to reach out to these guys. Maybe they're going to be mean to me. Maybe they don't know what I'm doing. But you go with a great tone of voice and say, listen, I am cold calling all day long, and I am finding some really good leads. I kind of know how to close them. I think I know that. But if I don't, can I come to you with these opportunities? I promise I'm not going to waste your time. I promise I'm not going to give you a bunch of leads that aren't really leads. But can I bring these to you and you can be my money person? The answer will be yes. And then you go with confidence. And then now you have their proof of funds, boom, until you have enough or you build a relationship with a hard money lender in town and get a funds letter, right? You can get it. You could talk to a title. You could Google hard money in your town right now. Call them up. Say, I'd like to do business with you, but I need to have a letter of approval from you that you lend on properties. And then they send you a letter of approval, and then you send it over to the agent. And then that agent calls that company. They go, yep, we're a hard money company. We're private. We're real smooth. There you go. But find somebody that's got your back. Ariel, how do you find out the percentage of equity of a property? Well, typically it's in pretty much all of the tools, PropStream, Privy, Batch Leads. It'll show you kind of what's owed versus what the estimated value is. But listen, I always assume equity until they tell me that they don't have equity. Like if you pull the lists and they're ugly houses, they typically have equity. I haven't run into properties that don't have equity in forever because the market's gone bananas. I mean, the whole market's gone up 15, 20%. Most people have equity unless they went crazy. You know what I mean? And most properties that are really destroyed are typically owned free and clear. They have very low mortgages because the banks will not lend and give more money on properties that are destroyed. It's a bad investment. It's a risk. When the appraisers go there, the appraisers go, do not lend on it. That's the point of a third-party appraiser. So whenever you get a home equity or refinance or whatever else, an appraiser goes out and gives the bank the bank's eyes and ears and tells them, yeah, this thing it's got rats, it's got water damage, the electrical's dated, and it's probably a hazard. The roof has a hole in it, all those things. And so, there's typically equity, but you can find out very easily through those sources and find out kind of what they owe. But I always assume they have equity. Don't worry about it. But I get it. I get the question. Xavier, I see many investor listings on the MLS. I'm brand new. Is there a video on how to send offers on market? Join us every Thursday, Xavier. By the way, welcome. Hell yeah. But every Thursday I have a Millionaire Before 30 years old show with the incredible Ryan Zolan and Albert Bowie. And that's their bread and butter, is making offers on the market. So any of those shows you can see, it's not rocket science. It's literally, you build relationships with real estate agents. You find those properties and then you work with them to get your offer accepted. And then you build a relationship with the agent. But Xavier, if you're just getting new to this business, I would not start there. I wouldn't. I just want, unless you have experience in the real estate industry, you're going to get, you're going to get beat up. You really are. I would go direct to a property owner first, or I would call up a real estate agent and tell them you're looking for properties that are really, really ugly before they hit the market. But if you're just offering on market deals, it is rough. And typically the properties are going to be listed too high. So then you got to negotiate. And if they're too low, they have 17,000 offers on them. And then you're just one of many. Like, the best deals are when you're not competing against other offers. If it hits the world, AKA the internet, AKA the MLS that agents put their properties on the market, everybody's going to see it. Every buyer is going to know that property's for sale and what it's for sale for. So I wouldn't start with that strategy. I would start with off market with agents or go direct to the property owners. And I get it all the time. I get all Hunter, we comp properties all the time. And they're like, here's a deal. And it's on the market. And I'm like, have you talked to the agent? No, we'll call the agent. Oh, I called the agent. It has 12 offers. Yeah. Yeah. I called the agent and there's no offers. I think we can get this. Okay, let me comp it. Oh no, they're at full market value and this property needs $50K worth of work. What? Zillow says it's 230 and they have it on the market at 180. That seems like a good deal. Dig a little deeper and go deeper on your offer price or lower. Julian, I am negotiating on an owner who has 45K in liens, but says if we apply for amnesty program, they can get reduced significantly. Are there cash buyers who will buy given that circumstance? Not until they get approval from the amnesty program. Or, I mean, what if they owe? I mean, do they owe less than what you can offer them, or do they owe more? Do you have to remove that 40? Do you have to get that 45K down to 5K for it to make sense? If you do, then get that approved first. A buyer's not going to be like, yeah, I'm going to buy it and then I'll just apply for some amnesty program. No. I mean, unless they have like an in, or unless they have a tremendous amount of experience with it, it's not going to happen. They want to make sure that they can get in and get going with this property and they get it at the right price. They make money when they buy. So I don't even know what an amnesty program is. So if you can educate us, do you know what it is? I have no idea what that is.
No, I've never worked with anything like that.
So educate us a little bit in the comments if you could. I'd be really curious to add to the knowledge base here. Teresa, my sister doesn't understand. You can't just jump into becoming a developer. Oh, you can. I mean, you can if you have a lot of money and a lot of patience, and if you don't need a paycheck for 2 years. I mean, for real. I mean, that's development right now. I mean, you got fix and flippers that take 6 months to do a fix and flip right now because of because of labor, because of equipment, material, everything.
Demand,
yeah, it's crazy. So if you got 2 years and you don't need money for 2 years, great. We have to be focused on wholesaling for a year and over. What can I say to her to have her understand? Do you want money now, or maybe money in a couple years? That's it. And you have to understand, what business are you building, Teresa? What business are you building? Are you building a business that you can go full time and is paying your bills and you've got a good lifestyle and you're building it out so that you can pull yourself out of that business? That's what we're talking about here, right? We're talking about building this business that is going to be a servant to you, that's going to constantly find discounted properties. That's what that's the whole goal. If you want to build a development business, that's fantastic. I love that. Go do that. But do you have the funds? Have you raised the funds? Let me explain something to you right now. No one is going to pay you to develop properties. Okay? They want your money in the game. They want no money coming out of this thing until it starts making money. And they want to make sure that somebody's experienced that's going to really understand how to run these projects. Good luck raising money from people that have experience lending on these opportunities, and you have no experience. You have no and you expect a paycheck out of it. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. There you go. So I hope that answered it, Teresa. I think just, hey, let's focus on ugly houses, big checks, and let's see how that goes. That seems like the first logical step. And then as we build the connections and build our resume and build our experience, then we can start squatting up with people that develop. We can learn from a mentor that develops and then branch off and do our own business at some point. Okay, Clay Coons, come on. Here we go. 2 deals. $20,000, 2 deals at $20,000. Clay, congratulations. Keep it going. Start every day at 0. Start every day. No money in the bank, no leads, nothing. Kim, hi,
4
Brent.
contracts.
Hi, Brett. We get 4. We got 4 contracts last week using some of TTP methods. Imagine how many contracts you'd get, Kim, if you use all the methods. There we go. Here we go. Kim, congratulations. 4 contracts last week. That is excellent. Now, listen, contracts are great. Closings are better. Get them closed. Get them sold. Sell them right now. It should be relentless pursuit of the highest offer you possibly can and get it over to your cash buyers. Remember, guys, the way to really explode your business and the only asset that you truly have in the business once you know the systems and the ways that you do things, yes, that's your business systems, that's the skeleton of it, but your cash buyers, your customer base is what really makes you the big money. The more buyers, the more you make, because different buyers recognize different potential, and if they recognize different potential, they pay more for different properties. You don't always have to sell it to the person that's just fixing and flipping. What if they want to fix and flip, burr it, and do an Airbnb? Would they pay more than somebody that is going to just fix and flip and sell it to some couple or a family? Yeah. What about hedge funds that want to just hold these things? Yeah. So build your cash buyer database. Tony, how do you respond to a pre-foreclosure lead that tells you their lawyer is handling it? Okay, great. Yeah. What have they done so far? Have they postponed the foreclosure? Are they negotiating it? All those things. Most people don't have an attorney. And then if you really want to go at them, Tony, you can go, okay, great. Well, I'd love to present an offer to your attorney. What's their email? Okay, fantastic. It sounds like your attorney is handling everything. I think that's a great move, especially in this situation, because foreclosures are an absolute nightmare and they totally destroy your credit. And I don't want that to happen to you. So I'd like to present my offer. It sounds like your attorney's handling everything with the real estate, right? Yeah. Okay, great. So what's their email? I want to make sure that I can send them an offer so that they can review and then talk to you about it. What do you think is going to happen? There's no...
Yeah, I mean...
There's no attorney.
Yeah, exactly. So for the most part, 99% of the time, and I leave 1% out just for for a buffer. Yeah. But yeah, there's no attorney. There's just edification. They're trying to send it out to somebody else and evade the situation. What happens is that you stay on top of that. Yep. But yeah, we've come across that. I mean, a bunch of times. I can't tell you how many times. Yep. And yeah.
So there you go, Tony. Tips for wholesaling $1 million homes. Tanner, do it. Nike it. Just do it.
Same process.
You know what I'm saying, brother? Listen, here's the thing. The only difference is you need to get $1 million buyers. You have to understand the technique and the strategy is the same if it's a $5,000 piece of land or if it's a $5 million property. It's just who are you selling it to? Right? The paperwork's pretty much the same. Here's the paperwork. Here's the contract. Okay, great. It's $1 million property. Let's go sell it. And by the way, I love those because typically they're 6-figure deals, because usually we make about 10% on these deals, right? So
Reach
$1 million homes, find $1 million buyers that are looking for that. And I will tell you this, there are, depending on what market you're in, they love them. Oh my gosh. It's like a fix and flippers, like biggest flex ever. Like I see a lot of the fix and flippers that we've had in the market, and they're like, we're doing this $2 million thing. And it's like a daily vlog of them going through and they're picking out this and that and their crews. And this is John, and he's doing the cabinets, and this is Ramon, and he's doing the whatever air conditioning, and he's got this and this, and oh, look at these guys, these are my homies and all this, right? It's like a flex that all like fix and flippers have,
badge,
that they do $1 million homes. I mean, look at Jerry Norton. It's like Jerry Norton's bread and butter.
Yeah.
Jerry Norton only does $1 million homes. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's very, you're like, oh my gosh, this isn't just like a 3-bed, 1-bath house in the wilderness. This is like this big mansion. It's so exciting. And it is. I'll admit it. It catches my eye. But they love those deals. That's the point. There's a lot of those buyers out there. So just find the people that are experienced, find the people that have the budget, and get it sold. It's great.
Talk to move that kind of deal, or you want to talk to luxury wholesale deals, you want to talk to luxury agents. There's going to be agents that specialize in luxury in every single market out there. So reach out to brokerages, look up luxury agent, and then zip codes, do a 10, 15, 20, 30 mile radius on that, and then you're going to come up with a list. So, luxury agents work with these people. And the interesting thing about super wealthy people is they want things their way. Right? These are entrepreneurs. These are doctors. These are attorneys. These are CEOs. These are people that whatever. Maybe some of them have inherited some, you know what I mean? And they want it their way. And so their agents are always looking for blank canvases. Always. And then they go, I got this amazing deal. It's over here. It's totally destroyed. You can do whatever you want. You can bulldoze it. You can build your own thing. It's in a great area, whatever it is. And they go, yes. And they will literally pay like $1.5 million for a lot. They'll just bulldoze the house and build, we see that stuff here in Paradise Valley all the time. There's there's a piece of land, a few acres. I think it's active right now, but it's going for like $50 million, and it's somewhere around Paradise Valley. Right. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. But it's somebody's, niche.
Raphael, answer this one.
What is the best way to generate leads quick? I mean, how quick do you want them? Jump into your car and start driving for dollars? That's
Thank you.
That's the fastest way. It's not as sexy as PPC, and we say that all the time, and the marketing approach, but it's one of the most effective ways of doing it, especially if you're on a budget. I mean, we've said that 1,000 times, right? If you're on a budget and you can't pull a list, you can't hit the masses, get targeted, become that sniper that goes out and looks and builds their own list.
Love it.
It's really truly Mr. Novice Wanderer. It's one of the fastest ways to get to a deal.
Yep,
it is.
The only other thing, and I really like this strategy. And we finally, we got an incredible relationship manager that's coming on, starting this week, Jamie. And you go into Zillow and you search for properties. If you look at the median sale price, say your median sale price is like 300,000. And you go, okay, I'm going to look for all the sold properties on Zillow that have sold under 100,000. Right? Like something ridiculously low. And then you go at all those listings, because it's all the sold listings from the agent. And you look at it and you go, okay. And this is in disclosure states. Non-disclosure gets a little bit trickier. You got to play around with it a little bit. But you look for those agents that listed those properties and you go, hey, I want this property. This is perfect. This is exactly what I'm looking for. I know you work with a lot of investors, but I know that I can really, really work well with you. It can be really smooth. I can make this the simplest deals that you ever do possible. I've got my crew ready. I've got my team ready. I'm very experienced. I want to buy properties just like this. Right. And then start building up that referral and then text them once a week. Do you have anything that's coming up that's similar to whatever? Or do you have anything that needs some work? You have any deals this week that need some work that you could send me? And then get a referral. There you go. But go for those agents that have listed those low properties. Luis, my boss wants to sell when he retires in about 8 months and move out of state. How should I make the approach? Well, it depends on if it is in his best interest to sell it on the market or to take a cash offer. So if he lives in a nice house and it's a good upgraded house, refer him to an agent. He's going to sell it he's going to want as much as possible. If he's like, oh, you know what? I'm retiring. This house is destroyed. I hate it. I'm going to go live in a, mobile home for a while, or I'm going to drive around in an RV and see the country or whatever. And I just want to get rid of it. Great. But if there's no motivation, you can't convince them. We're deal finders, not deal creators. So even though somebody wants to sell their property, most people want to sell it on the market. 90 to 94% sell it on the market. We're looking for the 6 to 10% that have that want to trade price for speed and convenience. Okay, there you go. Awesome. Rob, should I move to a less competitive market? Florida has been hard for me as a 21-year-old. Well, it has nothing to do with age, Rob, because I have some very successful students in Florida that are like 19, 20, 21, 25. So it just depends on where you're at. If you're in Miami, get out of there. Miami's a bloodbath. I'm just telling you. Everybody that I know that's been to Miami is out of Miami in 6 months to a year. It's just that market. There's just when you go into some of these markets where the price points are very, very high, there are established companies that spend millions on their marketing, millions getting in front of these homeowners, millions just constantly going after these properties. So everybody's prices are so high, and they want to work with somebody that they've heard 1,000 times on radio ads and TV ads and postcards and billboards and like all that branding that people have done in those markets for years and years and years gives them a unique advantage. And that's not every market, but Miami's just, get out of there. But if you're anywhere else, Rob, knock it off. You got this, bro. Like, what does that mean? It's been hard for you. Listen, you're going to talk to so many people before you get to listen to this, right? 20 hours of straight calling, 200 conversations with strangers. One of them will do business with you, but they won't you will not get paid on that for 90 days. So you've got a 90-day period of consistently speaking to all of these distressed property owners and building this thing up before you start building traction, right? That's the tough part. That's what everybody goes through, Rob. Some people get lucky. Some people catch something at the right time and they do it. But I will tell you this, Rob, the people that do that typically lack the discipline, and then all of a sudden they go 6 months without a deal. Or they go 3 months without a deal, or they're trying to do creative things to find these opportunities and be the next, marketing channel. Stop, right? Like, go through that. Like, be a wartime general. You know what I'm saying? Like, go into the fire and really take action every single day to build up your confidence. You will do deals. You will build up your pipeline. What do you suggest for scaling after having done 60K in revenue from 4 deals? What is he talking about? He's got 4 deals, 60K. Rob, you're crazy. I have a VA, but not sure how to scale. Do I add a market? So I assume when you mean VA, that probably means that you have a phone prospector. If you want to scale up, get a highly paid phone prospector. Call Motivated Sellers. Seriously, call motivatedsellers.com. I mean, this year's been the biggest. And I'll just tell you, I mean, it's really transitioned from a lot of pay-per-click leads from last year and a lot of text leads to cold call leads, and over 600,000 from Fran, who is our killer cold caller, right? And she's with Call Motivated Sellers. They're just phenomenal. So you can check them out. And then the next thing, Rob, is you need to just pile in as much lead generation as possible until you're just completely overwhelmed. And if you're overwhelmed, that's when you bring in a salesperson. That's when you bring in an acquisition manager, and your acquisition managers, I highly suggest you make sure that they have a college degree, because colleges turn out employees, and you want somebody to stay with you a long time and have kind of that mindset, but be very, very good. And so I highly suggest it when you hire an acquisition manager, make sure that they have college degrees. All right. Awesome. Blake, what is a double close? What is a double escrow? Great question, Blake. And we've done this a couple times, but if you guys don't mind, I'll do this real quick. Okay. 3 questions? Okay. So let's look at this typically. Okay. This is wholesale, right? Wholesale is you've got your seller. Okay. We'll get a little house here. You've got a purchase contract. You've got you, right? You're awesome, right? You're strong. You got the big biceps, men and women. And then you've got your cash buyer, right? And then what happens is between you and the cash buyer, you put together a assignment, okay? Assignment document, okay? So there's 2 documents, purchase contract, assignment, all right? A double escrow and close is very different. Now you've got the property owner. Okay, there he is. You've got a purchase contract here between you and this owner. There you are. You're awesome. This is going here. Boom. All right. And then you've got a purchase contract, another purchase contract. There's no assignment in a double close, double escrow. I apologize for giving you my back, but that's how things work. So purchase contract, and then this is your cash buyer. Now, in a double escrow, this money from this purchase contract actually passes through and goes into this escrow and pays this purchase contract, and it goes to the seller. That's a double escrow. Okay, that's when this person's money actually pays all the transactions. Pays both transactions. Not a lot of title companies don't do that. But a double close is you have to get the money yourself to pay for this purchase contract, and then this person is going to pay you a closing at the same exact time. It happens like a minute apart, but you actually have to bring in the funds to close this. And title companies like that because you're actually buying it and selling it, as opposed to using the funds from a different transaction. And if you're going to do a double escrow, they do a disclosure to the seller and say, hey, listen, they actually sold the property, and the funds for that are going to be distributed to you are actually coming from a party that just bought the house. So,
and Brent, just to kind of put a couple of things on top of that, but transactional funding, we hear transactional funding all the time, right?
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily play into that type of closing, right?
I mean, if you do a double close, you get a transactional. That's where you can get your money from.
Yep.
And that's what they love it. I mean, that's typically what they love it for. And they charge you like 2, 3, 4 points. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it ends up being like 4, 5, 10 grand or whatever. So, do you change your max allowable offer if you have to double close? Yeah, I mean, it just depends, Tabitha. Typically, when you do a double close, you've already got a smoking deal. And the reason you do a double close is a couple different reasons. One, if you live in a state that requires a real estate license and you don't want to get a real estate license or partner with somebody that has a real estate license, you actually have to close the deals, right? So that's one reason that you would go and do a double close, is to avoid that. The other one is if you're making like 70K, 80K, 100K, 50K, whatever it is, and you don't want your cash buyer going like, whoa, Mrs. Greedy Pants, why are you making so much on this deal? You're worried about that. You know what I mean? Which is silly, because I like going confident and be like, dude, we got a big deal. I mean, listen, we've got a bunch of people that want to buy this deal. I'll give it to you, but I'm just telling you, like, don't get salty on how much we're making on this thing, because it's bananas. I mean, this is one of those, home runs that we come across. Like, this is a once in a month type of thing, right? See how I did that? Not lifetime. Deal with lifetime comes around once a week. Off the roost. Boom. Anyway, then if you don't want to show them, if you don't want them like getting wiggly or getting mad at you or whatever it is about how much you're making, then then double close it. Yeah, and then you will have to adjust it with a double close. Typically, you're going to, if you have the money, it'll cost you probably about $3,000 to do the closing on your purchase side, because your buyer's going to pay for the closing when you sell it to them. But if you are getting financing and you need that transactional funding, you got to see how many points they charge you. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3. If it's a $300,000 deal, that's 9,000 plus you got 3,000 for closing, 4,000 for closing, around there. There's 13,000. It's going to eat into your profits. But if you're making 70 and you don't want to screw the deal up and you're cool with 57, get it done. It happens every day of the week.
How's it doing business? Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, Tabitha, there are times when it is such a smoking deal, I will not let anybody know about it. I am closing that deal as fast as possible with that property owner so that they can't get wiggly, so that nobody can kind of somebody try to backdoor me, or somebody that lost that deal now is getting pissed off and is raising a fuss, all that stuff. I don't want anybody. If it's a deal that's like 50, 60, 70, 80, 100, whatever, we're going to close. Boom. Unless we know that, we've got a really, really, really strong relationship with the seller, which typically we do. But so, if it's too huge, I'll just close that deal. I'll just get it done. Boom. I don't want anybody. I'll own it. Once I own it, then it's guaranteed. One of the biggest fears, right, Raph, is we got this huge deal. It's life-changing. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make $103,000 on this deal. Like, it's like, I can't believe it. This is it. I can't believe I found this opportunity. This is bananas. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to blast it out. And then you go, oh, wait a second. Now people know about it. What if people try to blah, 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 blah. And then you get a call from the seller and they're saying people are showing up at the house. And then they're trying to tell them that I'm selling the property. What's going on? And all these other things. Just close it.
Something like that, you find a way to close it.
You find a way.
Even if you don't have the cash, you look
That's
for the
it.
cash. You become resourceful.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
And you're right. Those deals do happen once a week.
Yeah.
Two-parter.
Nathan with the two-parter. I worked with a seller who liked working with in-town title companies. The problem is no title companies in town will use single source funding to double close. What should I do? Okay, so that's a double escrow. It's in a smaller market around 100K population. Well, you got a couple things, Nathan. Number one is who's paying the closing cost. I work with this company and I can afford to pay the closing cost because they give me a discount because I work with them. So I prefer to work with this title company. Why do you want to work with this title company? What is it? Do you have a relationship with them? Are you doing a lot of business with them? No, I just trust that they're in town. These are like old school mentalities. Like my grandpa used to be like this. He's like, would go down to the title company like every single day to see how they were progressing on the escrow when I helped him sell his cabin. I was like, oh my gosh, this is my living nightmare. But some people are like that. So if they are a stickler with it, you got to find out if it's a deal breaker. Number one, you're paying the closing. So I'm paying all the costs. I'd like to have control and work with my people because I know that they're the best and I get the best discounts. Does that make sense? So I'd hit them with that, Nathan, first. If they're like, well, I will only do this deal at this title company. Great. Go find the money. Raphael just said it. If it's that good of a deal, you'll find the money. Just go find the money. Just go find somebody that's close in there or somebody that does transactional funding. You can literally Google it and do it in your state, or call up all your hard money people. Call up everybody and be like, guys, I know that I've never done business with you. I'd like to start the relationship. I've already got this deal sold. It is done. The title company that I'm working with, that the seller is working with, does not do a pass-through double escrow. So I need to close this deal. Can you tell me, can you close that? Can you do 100% of this? If the other buyer's already lined up with their money and it's ready to go, an hour later, and I pay you a couple points, you're going to have that conversation. I got it down to $1,000 with Iman, $1,000 with one of the biggest lenders in town. That was years ago. He doesn't do that anymore, but $1,000. Well, I don't know. to do transactional funding where they literally wire it in and get the wire back in 15 minutes and get it grand. People charge 2 points for that, 3 points for that, whatever it is. But you can get it done. Bows or B ounces, 843. How do we get earnest money for the contract if they want it up front, like before you're able to find a buyer? Yeah, it just depends on what you've negotiated for it. First of all, you never give the earnest money to the seller. It goes to the title company for sure, or closing attorney, depending on your state. So make sure that you're not giving it directly to the owner, because they will literally just take it and disappear. And two, that's part of the business. I mean, it just depends. How much do they want? If they want $100, give them $100. Go sell some shoes, bro. Go sell your TV, sell your PlayStation, sell something, whatever. Donate plasma. I don't know. I mean, whatever. I say that jokingly because I know people that literally like built their business off of selling plasma. Anyway,
whatever it takes.
So hey, Brent, what are all the documents that a wholesaler has to provide at the title company? Purchase contract, assignment contract. I mean, it just depends on where you're at. And if you're a real estate agent, you got to check with your brokerage, just see if you need a lot of disclosures and a lot of documentation for these deals. But if you're just out there and it's just you and you're finding these opportunities, typically what you're going to do is you're going to get the purchase contract. You're going to send that in, and that's going to open up escrow. They're going to start doing their work. And then when you assign it, you send them the assignment so they know who's buying it. All right.
On that note, Brent, I think the previous question, I didn't catch the name, but more important than documents, it's the clauses that are going to be inside your contract.
Yep.
So ask your title company about any specific disclosures that they need to have in the contract.
Yep.
And then just, throw them into your contract and then, process them that way. But
awesome. Yeah. Isaiah, Brent, what do we do if the agent who's locating our deal is adamant about us signing a buyer's agent agreement? I plan on working alongside other agents, but don't want any conflicts. Yeah, they're trying to control your business. I don't like that. I don't like any of that. Now, if it's an agent that's doing a really good job, tell them that you will do it for property specifics. I will sign a buyer agent agreement for property specifics that you send to me. 100%. I want you feeling confident, but I'm not going to restrict my lead generation, my business, by just working with one agent. I'm going to work with a ton. I've got a lot of bandwidth. I've got a lot of runway to work with here. So I'd love to work with you. If that doesn't work for you, completely understand. I'd love to buy a lot of business with you. I'd love for you to keep all the commissions, love to grow a relationship with you, but I can't just wait for you to send me deals. That's not good business practice. Does that make sense? Yeah, great. So, Liam,
like this one.
Brent, where do you put your legal pad pages when they tear off? I love it. Well, first of all, I rarely tear them off. I mean, I've got stacks of these things kind of all over the studio here, but usually, it ends up in Alejandra's drawers. Yeah. Alejandra is my I don't even know what you would call that. Like, what's the person that like keeps history? Yeah, but it's like more like a curator. She's my curator. That's the word I was looking for. She curates all my yellow pads that I write all my notes. And guys, listen, I go the night before from 8 o'clock to probably 11 or 12, just putting together the opening statements of our shows in the morning, just trying to get like different ideas and different thoughts out so that it makes sense to just cut through all the noise. We got so much noise in this industry. And even I started out, Raph, and you had popped in a couple of minutes into it with that quote. Will you put it up again? It's the quote from Andrew Carnegie or Carnegie, whatever. Some people call it this and that, whatever. About 90% of millionaires become so through owning real estate. I have done as much research as possible. I can't find anywhere that he said that. I don't know what year he said that. He died in 1919, bro. He was born in 1835. You think it's a different world? millionaires are
Principles.
millionaires are made by building businesses. Will you put that GIF up? Did we put it up yet? Did we put the it's not working on it? Okay. Well, basically it's showing you the path of the cash flow quadrant. Employee to self-employed, business owner, and then investor.
Here's the thing. I think strategies are temporary, right?
Yep.
We have to update strategies, but principles and fundamentals,
That's it.
those things are timeless.
That's
man.
it.
And real estate is one of those. It's just principles.
That's it. Mark, if you haven't, obviously Rich Dad Poor Dad is fantastic. Think and Grow Rich is fantastic. I will be honest with you. There isn't a single book that I have ever read in real estate, and I've probably read realistically 80 to 100 real estate books, and I keep going, it's all education, bro. It's not instruction. That's the problem. The problem with these real estate books is it educates you. It doesn't show you the roadmap. It doesn't show you how to take action. It's not a blueprint. It's literally just like, here's some stuff that happened, right? I think Millionaire Real Estate Investor is an interesting book by Gary Keller. It's got some really, really great principles. But again, it's about building a business. It's not about just going out there and like working your 9 to 5 and buying rental properties. And oh, by the way, when you do stop that W-2 and you do go self-employed, you got to do that 2 years before the bank will give you a loan for rental property. Do you know that? Yeah. Why do you think a lot of people are stuck in that employee? Well, I need to stay here so that I can buy rental properties. Great. They're going to cap you out because of your income. So not only can you not get traditional financing on regular deals typically, now listen, there's other banks, there's higher interest rates, there's people that, work with these self-employed, but typically it's 2 years of job history for the best rates.
You know what's crazy on that? When I launched my first business, my employees were able to buy a house.
More.
I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have 2 years of a track record.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this craziness?
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes it can be a little different, harder as a self-employed, but it's one of the things that you have to go through. I mean,
then you build a
worth,
business,
and
then you have
the juice is worth the squeeze.
You've got that. You've been in it 2-3 years. You've got your tax returns. You got everything that they're looking for. Then you can buy whatever properties. Yeah. Yep. So in being new to this, my brother, who's been doing this since he was 18, like me, suggested your videos. Are there any particular videos you'd recommend for me to watch first? Pick and choose. This is on demand. This is choose your own adventure, but I would highly suggest you go to ttbinsider.com and go through those courses that we've put together there, because I think it's all free. I mean, obviously it's we want you in our world so that we can communicate with you. But you should, if you have conviction in what you do. You should, if you believe that you can teach anybody this, coach anybody how to build these businesses. So get in there, check it out. All right. I'm 22 and I live with my parents, and I'm trying to explain to my parents that I'm starting to wholesale. Should I go get a job and move out and do my business on the side? Dale, I couldn't. I literally couldn't, Dale. Like, it just depends. Can you? Can you just go out and get a job and then keep this dream alive and then do that and do that on the side? Sure, I couldn't. Just depends on you, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am unemployable. I don't want people to control. I don't want to be a cog in somebody else's wheel. I want to live. I will live in my parents' basement. And they actually have a basement in Phoenix, which is very rare. And start all over with my family all in there if I lost everything before getting a job. Seriously, I'm 40 years old. You're 22, bro. Like, great. That's a great starting ground. You know what's going to motivate you? Getting out of your parents' house. Like, if you put the same amount of effort going and finding ugly properties and talking to agents that sell ugly properties and matching them up with cash buyers in your marketplace, boom, all of a sudden, like the 15 bell rings that we've done today, you get that 10, 25, 30, $50,000. So, it depends on what you want to do, Dale. If you want to move out now because your parents are like driving you crazy, that's one thing. Can you live with it? And for the next 12 months, stay focused and grind. I mean, I have people that have built $1 million wholesale businesses, and they started making calls in their mom's laundry room because that's how tight the apartment was. How the house was. People doing stuff from their bedrooms while they're in college. People making calls from the barracks as in the army, right? Like, just do it. You know what I mean?
I would do a pivot right there on Dale. I mean, if you have to, right? And for the sake of survival, stay in there. But build your business and get a job on the side. I mean, see it that way. I mean, flip it on its head, right?
Yeah, do Uber Eats, do
exactly.
Whatever.
I mean,
yeah.
Anyway,
dream big too. I love it. Listen, I don't travel a lot. I don't speak a lot. That's why I built this thing. It's a lot easier for my family. It's a lot easier for my routine. It's a lot easier to be a business person if I'm not constantly traveling all over the place. And so I made the decision to stay in Phoenix more. You're very close. I open up Fridays is when I open up for my TTP students every week. They can come into the office, meet. So that's one option. Join the TTP coaching program, ttpcall.com, ttpcall.com if you're interested in that, or just natural matriculation. If you're in TTP Insider, it'll, there's little prompts that, if you get into a restricted area, you can sign up for a call. Easy stuff there. We're going to start once we have this whole building to ourselves and open up a studio. We're going to have a live studio audience on the Monday wholesale hotline shows, which is going to be really cool. And maybe that'll be the opportunity to drive in and check that out. But that'll be a few months before that happens. But yeah, if you're interested in more one-on-one and us interacting, the coaching for sure. Last one. Come on.
Oh.
Alan with the pick. Look at this. Have 30K closing by the end of the month. 5. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 exclamation points. Boom. You got it. Here we go. I love it. Come on, guys. Come on up. Guys, I could not do this show without our incredible crew. We've got Raphael Cortez, obviously. Just absolutely crushed today. Thank you, brother. That was awesome. We've got Matt, we've got Alejandra, we've got Aaron. We all love you guys. Remember, keep your house clean. Literally your house too. Like, don't be disgusting. Go clean your house and keep this house clean, right? Protect your health and increase your value to the world, and you will live an incredible life. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.